Do you ever wonder if what you're eating is even a good idea? Or maybe you know it's bad and you do it anyway because you just can't resist? Hi, guys. My name is Cade. Welcome to Chunks and Chats. Today I'm going to be working on the tunnel that I started in yesterday's video. And I'm going to be talking about dieting and not necessarily like actively dieting, but my perspective on food and sweets in general. I'm also trying to make this farm a little bit more visitable, presentable, you know, because I like to make my places look cool. I'm definitely the builder type of person, so just gonna try and make everything look pretty, make sure nothing can spawn in here. I don't know. I'll have to make another lantern, but for now that's good. All right. So let's get over there and let's talk about this a little bit. So I've been trying lately to cut out certain things of my life, like soda and energy drinks, because they're okay in moderation, but I'm so addicted to them. Like, I can't resist having multiple cans of soda every day. I even have one sitting next to me right now on my desk. And I don't know what it is. I think they're designed to be addictive in a way. They give you that, I don't know if dopamine is the right word, but they give you some kind of instant satisfaction that's just so hard to resist. It's the cravings. And energy drinks kind of do the same thing. Caffeine is also really addictive. When I was in college, I had an energy drink almost every day. And eventually I realized that that wasn't very good because I was dependent on them and I couldn't live without them. So when I cut them off for a while, the withdrawals were really, really bad. I was suffering from headaches and all that. And it wasn't fun. It hurt, but it was worth it. And that was a long time ago. Somewhere along the line, I fell back into it again. And I don't drink as many energy drinks as I used to. Maybe 2 or 3 a week. Yeah, 3 on my worst weeks. But usually just 1 or 2. But the soda, that's an everyday thing still. And I'm really hoping to let that go. I have let some other things go so far this year. I wanted to share about that because I think I could encourage somebody else to hopefully do the same. And that's candy. You know, candy's not a bad thing, right? I mean, it's just like any other, dare I say, guilty pleasure type of treat, you know? But I went on a bit of a cleanse earlier this year. I wasn't like actively dieting or anything like that because I am definitely not a big person. I don't really need to lose any weight. I could actually stand to gain some weight, honestly. But that's besides the point. My whole goal was just to eat richer, like better foods, less processed stuff. Because I've just heard so much about what's in our food. And if you look at the recent news, it's just getting worse. And I try not to focus too much on the news because a lot of it is just fear mongering. But yeah, a lot of it is just really the stuff we have, especially in the US, is not that great. So anyway, circling back around to my point, I had no sweets for a little while. I still had my energy drinks during that time that I was fasting sweets because I felt like I needed them. Even though I was unemployed at the time, I still had projects that I was working on at home, and I did some late nights, a few all-nighters even. But I thought it was interesting. What was interesting about that era, and this was only a few months ago, but what I thought was really neat is the fact that I just was able to cut out candy entirely. And I used to be a really, what's the word? Impulsive candy eater. I wouldn't normally go out of my way to buy it, but if it was given to me, I would go through my entire supply really fast. Like if it was next to me on my desk, that would that stuff would be gone in a couple of days. But after I did my little cleanse, I felt really good about it. The fact that I was only eating real food for the most part. I decided to trust myself again. I gave myself a chance to be responsible for myself. I told myself, all right, you miss your gummy worms, you miss your Oreos, and you've done so good about staying away from them. So I opened up my cabinet with my sweets in it, and I took an Oreo out and I ate it, and it was disgusting. Like, I don't even know. Maybe it was stale or expired or something. It was sealed, like it was a brand new package, but it was just so gross for some reason. And I think from that point onward, I realized I don't really care about this anymore. Like, it just doesn't interest me. Like, it's genuinely slop. Like, and I'm not going to criticize anyone who is going to buy a bag of candy while they're at the gas station. No, that's fine. But it's just not for me anymore. Like, even like the other things, like it wasn't just the Oreos, it was other like real sugary type of candy too. Even some chocolates. Like I don't like the taste of Reese's anymore. I don't like Butterfinger. I don't like, I mean, really, I think the only one I like is like the regular old Hershey bars, but even M&Ms are gross now to me. And so anyway, Forza Horizon 6, or if you want to pronounce it right, Forza Horizon 6. I don't know why I can't say Forza. That game just came out, and I'm really into cars and racing games and stuff like that. So I bought Forza, and there was a promotion that was going on, like, during launch, and it was a collaboration with Trolley, the gummy candy. And so anywhere that you bought a bag of Trolley with the new Toyota pictured on the package, you got a code. Like, you could enter in your receipt in the game, and you would get like a special edition car. So I bought the bag of gummy worms specifically so I could get the car in the game. and it's ironic because I never ended up using that code, and I also didn't stick with the game for very long. I just didn't like it, but that's aside the point. That's a different conversation. Um, I ended up eating those gummy worms, but I couldn't finish them. Like, they were just disgusting. Like, I felt like I was eating literal slop, like just straight sugar, like not even sugar in good taste, not like, cake or ice cream, like stuff that's crafted expertly. It just tasted like trash. and and I think that was my final turning point, that I realized, man, yeah, I I just don't think I like candy anymore. It was a weird feeling, but it was freeing at the same time because I know it's not good for me. It doesn't help at all. I mean, it's okay in moderation, but excuse me. It just it wasn't good anymore. But it was kind of freeing, honestly, knowing that I didn't have to struggle with it anymore. I didn't have to wonder whether or not I should be eating it. I mean, if I don't care, then it's just out of the picture, you know? And hopefully I can reach that same perspective on soda. That's what I'm working on right now, and I'm still really far from that point. I've been accountable with at least one of my friends about that. Like, I'd like to just quit cold turkey, but that's gonna hurt, and I'm not a pain kind of person. I don't really enjoy it. Well, nobody does, but you get it. So, oh man, we're gonna have to put a slab in there or something. I don't know. So I'm still working on that. I'm trying not to drink soda because I mean, just like candy and stuff, it's okay in moderation. And it doesn't taste as bad as candy, in my opinion. Don't know what's different about it. There's more ingredients, I guess, and it's made to actually have flavors and stuff, whereas candy is just, for the most part, it's straight sugar. Maybe sometimes it's chocolatey or whatever, but usually it's just sweet or sour or whatever, and it's just like a generic sugar flavor. Soda's different, the fact that it just pairs well with food, like, I don't know. It's just so much harder to let go of, but I believe that's my next step as far as my health goes, is to just let off of it, because I do drink way too much soda. And I wish I didn't have energy drinks either. I would like to... I meant to grab basalt while I was at home. I'm gonna have to go back. I would like to have coffee instead of energy drinks. I don't like coffee that much, but I'm trying to refine my palate, my taste buds, rather. But someday I'll get off of it. I live in the southern US, and down here we're just really big fans of Dr. Pepper. And my gosh, I have Dr. Pepper like every day. It's crazy. And I work at a place where I get free soda, so that definitely doesn't help. And it's funny because my favorite soda, taste-wise, is actually cream soda. But I think I just like Dr. Pepper so much because it's got caffeine in it, and I'm addicted to it. And some people could care less about their addictions, you know? Especially if it's not harming themselves, or at least it's not harming other people around them. But it doesn't work for me that way, because I believe addictions are wrong, regardless of what they are. Because I am Christian, and my primary focus should be my relationship with Christ. And if there's anything that distracts me from him, pulls me too far away from him, then that's something I need to step away from. And yeah, so I do feel like, honestly, every time I open a can of soda, I'm committing a sin right there in that moment. Do I really only have 10? That's unfortunate. We'll have to go get some more at a later date. Yeah, no, I really do feel like I'm committing a gross sin every time I open a can of soda. But where I sit right now, I'm just having a hard time getting off of it. Like, I can't stop. But I want to. I really do. I don't need the soda. I could survive on water and coffee. And maybe the occasional chocolate milk. What's a guilty pleasure of yours? Something that you can't put down? If you're willing to share, I'd be pretty curious. Because we all have different things that we're addicted to. For some of us, it might be our favorite video game. I know there have been times where I've put in a few too many hours into Minecraft. For some of us, our addiction might be other drinks, alcoholic drinks even. Some of us enjoy the high that you get from smoking a cig after a long day of work. I'm happy to say that I've not gotten into that, but I do have to be careful because anything's possible, and this world is full of temptations. And Jesus said that if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. If your eyes cause you to sin, pluck them out. Now, that's not meant to be taken literally, but I do believe if there's something in your life that is pulling you away from him, that thing is causing you to sin, and that should be the thing that you should cut out. And when I say you, I don't mean you personally, specifically. I'm talking about myself, because we all believe different things, you know? If you don't believe in Jesus, then disregard the past couple of minutes of me talking, you know? I can't... It's not my job to change your mind about that. But as far as my personal beliefs, my convictions, I believe any addiction that I go through is a sin. And I want to stop. I want to stop sinning. I want to be as close to God as possible, even though I don't always appear that I'm a child of God. I'm not always the best person that I could be. And sometimes I do or say things that might make people doubt that I am a child of God. And if I can cut out my addictive habits, that's just one step closer to pleasing him. I'm sorry about that beep. I need to turn my phone off. Same with other things. Maybe it's how you respond in certain situations. I know that sometimes I don't respond appropriately to certain things. I will, maybe I'll get mad and I'll say a naughty word or something, and maybe those words in and of themselves aren't necessarily bad. But people kind of have the impressions that Christians don't cuss. And then when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you do cuss, it makes people wonder if you're a Christian. And I don't want people to wonder. I want people to know. I want people to know that I am a child of God. And I want to be proud of that. And I want to be openly thankful that he has saved my life. And later on, I'll talk more about that, about how he did that for me. My story is not super exciting, but it's still worth sharing, I think. We're going to have to wait a while for all the amethyst to grow, so I think I'm just gonna start carving. Get our tunnel ready. Get the shape of it anyway, you know? Something like that. I don't know. What do you guys think about all that? What's your opinions on addictions? Are they wrong? Or is it something that you don't really have to care about? Does it hurt you? Maybe it's worth thinking about whether or not it hurts the people around you. I know that some people, I won't say who, but I have had some friends confide in me and say that their addictions, in fact, have hurt the people around them. And those were their biggest motivators to get out of those addictions. And I'm so proud of them for doing so because they feel so much better. And I think once I can stop drinking soda, at least habitually, I can feel better. I can stop waking up feeling like I got hit by a car. I can have more appropriate sleep hours instead of whatever. Because the late nights, I mean, they can be fun, but making them a habit is probably slowly killing me. And I would rather keep my body functioning properly as long as I have to live. So that's food for thought. I don't know. So candy and soda and all that, like, it's just not natural, you know? It's just not, I don't know, real, I guess. Now, if we want to talk about other desserts like cake or ice cream, oh my gosh, I love a good cheesecake, New York style. That's a little different, and maybe this is just my opinion. You don't necessarily have to agree, but those are more expertly crafted dishes. It's not just a bag of slop that you buy at the gas station. So indulging in a well-crafted dessert every now and then, maybe not every night, but every once in a while, I think maybe that's okay. But again, that's my opinion. That's very subjective. And there's a lot of gray areas as far as morals go. We have laws and we have people to enforce those laws, but there are so many things that are just kind of per person. So I don't know. There's other things that are illegal, but maybe they aren't technically wrong, you know? Like, I mean, speeding is illegal, but pretty much everybody does that. Is it wrong just because it's illegal? Maybe, depending on what you believe, yeah, it is. But if maybe it's not, maybe you believe as long as nobody gets hurt, then you're not doing anything wrong. Then speeding is okay. You know, it's very subjective. It's hard to, on some of those things, it's hard to truly decide what's right or wrong. And honestly, it's the ambiguity of a lot of rules is probably the devil's favorite weapon. And I don't really mean to exclude my people watching this video who don't know God, but my relationship with him is something that does mean a lot to me. And so I do have to spiral this back to Satan using his tools of division. If Christ's body is fighting with itself, then it won't fight against the enemy. You know? Like, If every Christian ever to live was in agreement about all the rights and wrongs, we would be so much more productive in carrying out God's plan and bringing the light to the rest of the world. But if we're so busy fighting with each other, we're just going to focus on that, and we're not going to be able to go out into the world and share the light because we're going to be distracted. And once again, it comes back to distractions that are pulling us away from Christ. And believe it or not, that might be kind of sinful to argue with your brothers and sisters. And of course, there's a difference between fighting and having a civil discussion. I have civil, moral discussions all the time with very close friends. And I maybe don't agree with those friends about every single thing, but our core beliefs are the same. And that's what matters, I'd like to think. I also find it interesting how a conversation about candy and dieting brought us to fighting within the spiritual body. I don't know. I just really enjoy talking about my faith, even if it's not always obvious that I'm a Christian, but I want it to be obvious. I want people to see Christ in me, and I want them to think, when people look at me, I want them to think there's something different about Cade. Why does he operate the way that he does? And I want them to ask me why. And when they ask, I get to say it's because I've been saved by nothing that I did, but just through my faith, because I believed, because I trusted the Lord to guide my life. And, excuse me, it's hard sometimes, for sure. Some days I don't really care about anyone, and I would just want to do my own thing, regardless of how it might affect someone else. But it's not cool, you know? We live in a selfish world, and we're taught to be in the world, but not of the world. The reason we exist here, the reason we have to stay here for the time being, the 80-something years that we live on this earth, the reason we're here is so the light can be spread through us. And if we're being selfish and we don't care about anyone else, then we're just like everyone else. Hopefully that makes sense. And I also don't want to come off as harsh. I understand that sometimes to get a point across, you do have to be a little bit mean. You do have to be brutally honest in some situations. But there's a balance. I want to be able to be gentle at the same time. And most importantly, just love those around me. That is probably the hardest challenge. I just had a conversation with a few of my friends the other day about that. And it is it is so hard to love the big corporations that are creating candy and soda and all this slop for us to get addicted to, because they don't care about us. They don't care about our health. They just want to keep making money off of our addictions. And it's hard to love someone who doesn't love you back. It really is. I know, believe me. But that's when it's most important. Because when you do love someone like that, it makes a difference because people ask why. Okay, that person hurt you so much. Why do you love them? Because Christ loved them before I even knew who they were. He loved them before they recognized his awesomeness. And someday, if they receive enough of that love from him through his followers, they can go to him too. They can see the light through us, and they can turn to him. And that's the end goal. You can't save everyone. I can't save everyone. It's not our job to save anyone. It's up to the Spirit to convict them. And that is actually a topic that I have planned for another video as well. There's a lot of things that I'm excited to talk about on here. Lots of really introspective things. But we'll get to them in due time. I think we'll have a good time with it. I don't know how long I've been recording. I really should be keeping track. Oh, it's been half an hour already. Wow. Okay. Well, we carved out the cave. I don't know how much amethyst has grown, but I'm gonna go and take a look at that before we call it a day. And when you guys come back, that's gonna be all finished. I can promise you that. So let's go look at our geode. I know I rambled on a little bit and I got super off topic, but honestly, I mean, let's be real. When you're passionate about something, whatever topic you are on will kind of naturally go into that. I mean, go back to the Forza thing or the car thing in general, you know? I love cars. I drive a classic car. Well, a car that's 1 year away from being considered classic. It's basically classic. And it's my baby, you know? And I take every opportunity I can to talk about that car because I put so much hard work into it and I really enjoy it, you know? It's like a lot of the conversations that I have in the real world end up somehow diverting to cars in one way or another. So just the things you love, they naturally come up in conversations, I think. And if your relationship with Jesus comes up in a conversation that you're having with somebody else, then I think that's a good sign, because it shows that you really care, and it makes them, hopefully it makes them interested and they ask questions. It doesn't look like it's growing. I guess it was a little bit out of the simulation distance. I have it up to like 20, but I guess it was a little too far. But I'll sit here for a little while and I'll get some amethyst. And when you guys come back next time, we'll see the tunnel complete. And then I can show you the rest of Red Pine Hollow, my town just beyond Ember Lake. I hope you'll stick around for that. It's going to be super exciting to have you there. I appreciate you being here so far, and I look forward to fostering a community and growing relationships and being introspective and talking about life. So, thanks for being here. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.